Hi guys, nice to meet you if you're new here. Nice to see you if you're not new here. How's it going? I'm Lara. This is Tipsy. Every time that I start saying hi to you guys, she pops up. Right. Happy New Year's, you guys. It is officially January 1st, and welcome to the first video of the year. We are doing Instagram picks, my January TBR. Except for Instagram has no clue what books they picked. I did a couple of polls over on my Instagram. I covered up the books and I put emojis on them, and then I had Instagram pick. Now we're gonna see which books I'm reading in January. First book on my January TBR is actually my book club pick. If you don't know, I have a book club. It's on Fable. You can join it if you want. It's always in the description. But the first book is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. That is a book that book club chose for the month of January. It's our first book of 2025. I was literally just talking about Done and Dusted with you guys, how I wanted to read the series. I think I was talking about it in 2025 releases because the third book comes out, or is it the fourth book? I don't know. But I was just talking about reading that series, and we're starting with Done and Dusted. That is just the first book that is on my January TBR. On Instagram, like I said, I posted polls, covered up the book, and then added emojis that I thought fit somewhat well. The first book is covered up with school bus and paint, and then the second book is covered up with a basketball and a blue heart. So the school bus and the paint is Next to You by Hannah Bodum Young. I thought it went well because they are literally living in a school bus that they're renovating into a home. It's about Lane, who's going through an identity crisis. She decides that she's going to get a school bus and renovate it into a home, and she gets her best friend Matt to help her out, but they can only be friends, even though they're a little attracted to each other. And then the basketball and the blue heart is Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This story is about Iris and August. They meet in a bar and they immediately hit it off, but they're kind of headed in two different directions. August is poised for the NBA drafts, and Iris is actually already in a relationship with NBA's golden boy, but also our male main character's rival. Iris has like a very public relationship, but it's not so good behind closed doors. Out of the two books that I have here, I really want to read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I've had this book for a while, and I've read one book by Kennedy Ryan. It's Before I Let Go. I absolutely fell in love with those characters and the story, and it's so emotional, and I want to be back into like an emotional in-depth story. But on the other hand, Next to You is the same author who wrote Out on a Limb, which I also absolutely love that book, but I kind of want to read Long Shots. So let's see which one out of these two actually won. It looks like Next to You by Hannah Bodum Young won by 88%, which is very drastic. Kind of mind-boggling to me. I thought they would be kind of close. We're adding Next to You by Hannah Bodum Young on our January TBR. First book, technically second after book club. The next two emojis are kind of silly. I could not figure out which emojis to put for one of them. So the first book's emojis, blue swirl, a pow, like animation, and then books, and then the second one is a dice and a red heart. One with the blue swirl, the animation, and the books is Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I just could not figure out what emojis went with it, so I did like magic and action in books because she's in like an early college kind of thing, like the magic on the cover, and then in the story. Not super great emojis. I don't think it depicted it very well, but nonetheless, Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I've already read this book, so this would be a reread, but I really want to reread this book. Bree is a 16-year-old girl who lost her mother, and then she goes into this early college kind of thing. She's actually on like an actual college campus, but she's 16, but she's still technically in high school. She's just doing college classes. I don't know how to explain it, but that. And she's going with her best friend, and then one day she stumbles upon this secret society called Legend Born. The Legend Born, they're hunting creatures down, and this thing called the Merlin comes to wipe her memories because she saw what happened. Except for her memories didn't actually get wiped. Turns out Bree also actually has magic. She remembers that the night that her mother died, it seems that maybe a Merlin also wiped her memory. So now she feels like it's her duty to figure out what actually happened with her mother's death. So she joins the secret society of Legendborn to kind of just snoop on them. And there's so much more to this story than what I just gave you. So much more. It is a 5-star, 6-star read. I don't even know, but I really want to reread this book so I can read the next two in the series because Oathbound comes out in a couple months, and I really want to finish the series this year. Then the dice and the heart. Another one, I don't think the emojis match very well, but it is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. The dice for like the games of Caraval, and then the red heart. because red, I don't know, it's not very good. But Legendary is the second book in the Caraval trilogy. We're following these sisters, Scarlet and Donatella. Scarlet has absolutely loved the Caraval games since she was little. She's always wanted to go, she's always wanted to watch. As she gets older, the dream of going to Caraval kind of just subsides because now she's getting married. But right before she's set to get married, they end up going to Caraval, and the objective of the game is to actually find Donatella. Legendary is the second book. I really don't know anything about Legendary, to be honest. These are both books that I really want to read. I couldn't tell you which one I wanted to read more. And what you guys chose to read, it looks like it's actually 50-50. Should I put both on my TBR? I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch that I'm gonna read both of these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip a coin. Let's do Head Legendborn and Tails Legendary. Tails, what did I say? Legendary. So we're putting Legendary. Man, I kind of wanted to read this one. It's fine, it's fine. We're putting Legendary by Stephanie Garber on our TBR. Okay, the next two I feel like I gave pretty good emojis for, at least for the one. So the first emoji was an Aries zodiac sign and then a book. The second one is two swords and a fire emoji. So of course, I'm sure you can guess the first one as an Aries sign in a book. It is Zodiac Academy. Maybe I should have put Gemini instead of Aries because they're a Gemini. I'm also a Gemini. I'm a Gemini, impulsive, curious, headstrong, a twin, heir to a throne I know nothing about. And it turns out I'm Faye. I know that this series is very loved. I know a lot of people also don't love the story, so it's kind of 50-50 on if you're gonna like it, if you're gonna hate it. I've also heard that you need to get through the first couple of books to enjoy the series, which I think is kind of crazy. We'll see. If I like the first book, we'll see if I continue. If I don't like it. Because I don't want to read like 4 books to enjoy the series. The Swords Crossing and the Fire is Light Lark by Alex Astor. I don't think the fire necessarily made sense, but also there's like trials and games in this story. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler will die. Really want to read another book with like trials in it. Some people compare this a little bit to Hunger Games. I don't know. I think I want to read Lightlark over Zodiac Academy. I don't know which one won, but I wouldn't be upset with either of these books on my TBR. Okay, it looks like Lightlark won by 67%, and then Zodiac Academy got 33%. Like I said, I really want to read a book with trials in it, and this is that. So adding to the TBR we go. Okay, the next poll, I think I also did somewhat okay on the emojis. The first one is a fairy and a book. And then the second one is a castle and some more swords. If you can guess the first one with the fairies in the book, it is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. The fairies, the book, she's doing research, she's a professor, you know. She's researching fairies so she can write the world's first Encyclopedia of Fairies. Her rival ends up being there or coming on this journey with her, quite literally being annoying. He's charming, well-liked, and she's not. And then the castle and the swords is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I was also just talking about how I really wanted to read this book. I think both of these books for this poll are both on my 25 of 2025. The castle being for a kingdom and the swords being for enemies, because they are true enemies before they're even close to lovers. Oh my goodness. I feel like the books that I chose for this poll are all books that I so badly want to read. And it looks like Dance of Thieves won by 75%. Oh, Tipsy wants me to read this book as well. I'm not mad about adding it to the TBR. January is going to be such a good reading month. Last year, January was my best reading month because I read so many good books. I'm hoping it's the same thing this year, that January is going to be such a good reading month, starting the year off strong. Next poll is like a darker poll. First book, it has an axe and a black heart, and the second book has a lightning bolt and a skull. The Axe and the Black Heart is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. It's the first book in the Ruins Love trilogy. The whole series in whole is about serial killers, but This first book, it's about two serial killers who make it a game to kill other serial killers. And then The Lightning Bolt in the Skull is Anathema by Carrie Lake. I don't have the book for that. It's about a shunned woman who is forced beyond the mortal realm into the forbidden boundary. It's scary on the other side. There's creatures and magic and curses, gothic dark fantasy, and this is another book. I kind of, out of these two books, I want Anathema to win, but I know that I will also enjoy Butcher and Blackbird. It's so close. It's so close. Butcher and Blackbird won by 56% and Anathema got 44%. So it looks like we're reading Butcher and Blackbird. Last poll. The first book is A Tombstone and a Sparkling Heart. I feel like these ones are also pretty easy to guess. And then the second one is A Thought Cloud Bubble and a Purple Heart. So the Tombstone and the Sparkling Heart is The Love of My Afterlife. I feel like I pick this book up in almost every single video. I don't know why. A recently deceased woman meets the one in the afterlife waiting room and she gets a second chance, but she has to find this one on Earth before the 10 days are up. I really want to read this book. But this other book with the Thought Bubble and the Purple Heart is also one that I really want to read. Daydream by Hannah Grace. I have also talked about this book quite a lot recently. It's a continuation of the Maple Hill series. We get Henry as our main character and he's such a mysterious guy, but he's got so many little cameos in the other two books. I really want to be in his point of view. So out of our last two books, it looks like The Love of Our Afterlife won by 75%. Daydream didn't even get like close to halfway, but it's okay. It's okay because maybe I'll finally stop talking about how I want to read this book and actually just read it. These are the books that are on my January TBR. I don't own Done and Dusted. These are the books that I hopefully will read in January. A lot of good books here. I'm super excited for January, super excited for 2025. Hopefully we have a good reading year, you and I both. I hope we have such an amazing reading year. Hopefully no slumps for any of us. Good books all around, and that we get through our physical TBR because that is something we all need to do. What are some of the books that you're excited to read in January or just in 2025 in general? If you ever want to be included on one of my videos that I do with Instagram, go follow me. Shameless plug, I know. Thank you if you participated in my Instagram polls. I really appreciate it because you helped me pick my January TBR. Happy New Year's again. First video of the new year. Other than that, I hopefully will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.